So for tonight's main topic, we have Canadian Rimfire Precision Series with Rick Antonio. Hi, Rick.
Hey guys, how's it going? Thanks for having us on tonight.
No problem. Not a problem. So Rick, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, the fact that you're one of my peeps with Project Maple
I
Seed, but
am I'm
also
I'm one of your Maple Seed peeps. I am a competitor, been competing in service rifle, both long course and CQB and IPSC for the last 3 years. Love that sport and been with Maple Seed only a year and change, but it feels like it's been a
forever.
large part of my life and will continue to be for a while. So yeah,
Well, that's
yeah.
awesome.
Thanks for having us.
All right, so you have something new that you're doing. It's the
We
Canadian
are,
Rimfire
we are.
Precision Series. So why don't you tell
Yes.
us a little bit about that? How did it come about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as you know, as part of what we were trying to do at Project Maple Seed is kind of build that core of fundamentals and marksmanship instruction across the country, and then I guess as a next level, where do people go to
Hmm.
have that next level of challenge? And I think that we were trying to figure out what is the best way to kind of drive people into that. And I got into PRS a couple of years ago, and I found that it's fun, it's challenging, but really for most people, it's kind of out of their reach because there isn't really anything catered to someone who just wants to start off with a basic setup and
Yep.
get on the range and start figuring out what it's all about. So as part of that, I got together. I started talking just like we did with Maple Seed. I talked to Andrew Don and
Yep.
Will Gold, who are also Maple Seed riflemen, and said, "Hey, what do you think if we start one up?" And I know that the guys who run the CFB Valcartier Club started PRS last year. And I
Hmm.
talked to them to see if there's maybe an opportunity for us to kind of do back-to-back events and maybe a rimfire if there was interest. And they said, sure, we'd love to be part of that. So we kind of just like in Maple Seed, we looked at each other and said, well, if we're going to do it, why don't we just do it?
Good.
And there it is. So it was launched at the end of January,
Hmm.
incorporated as a nonprofit group. And our goal is to have 6 events across the country this year to give kind of Canadians an opportunity to try it out and see what they like and what they don't like and what they know and what they don't know. And
Okay.
again, just to give them the opportunity.
So I have a question for you. And now
Yeah.
this is the Canadian Rimfire Precision Series. Is there an
Correct.
American version or any other versions
There,
of it, or
there
is this?
are there.
Okay.
There's been a couple of initiatives that started in the States, and the I know the first one that I heard of was there was a series running in Utah, the long range match. I think that was
Hmm.
primarily rimfire.
Hmm.
And then recently I heard of the NRL, the National Rimfire League, I believe, 22.
Okay.
And what their format is their goal is to get individual ranges to subscribe to a particular kit, and they publish a monthly course of fire similar to our monthly challenges I made. And folks can shoot the challenge, submit their scores, and be part of a national league.
Hmm.
The difference there is that they typically go out to a maximum of 100 meters, where we didn't want to step on their toes, and we figured that clubs here also are able to participate in NRL 22. So we thought that the next level would be, past that. There isn't a lot of long distance or ultra long distance rimfire, and we're still trying to figure out exactly what the limits are of that rimfire ammunition. So
Okay.
yeah, so there's a few, and then I think Ely last year sponsored a rimfire match, very almost the exact same format as ours in West Virginia, Peacemaker. And
Okay.
I think this year Lapua is taking over the series, and they're having 4 events across the states.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you think so with this, it's based off of precision rifle shooting, right? But
Yep.
it's
It's
rimfire.
it's
So it's a little,
exactly the same. Yeah,
yeah.
exactly the same format.
So it's
Yep.
a little
Just
bit more affordable.
it's definitely more affordable. So if you look at what it costs to get into a PRS, you can get a standard 308 with a decent scope. You're in it for maybe 3,000, 2,000 to
Hmm.
3,000 plus ammo, which is maybe a buck a round or 60 cents a round. For us, we have the same exact challenging format through barricades and steel, varying distances and time stages, but it's a 22. So, we're rarely going to shoot over 100 rounds. So
Okay.
for a good box
Hmm.
of match ammo, it's going to be, I don't know, 10, 15 bucks, 20 bucks, 25 if you really want to go for the ultimate. But again, it's really what we've learned. What works best in your rifle is not always the most expensive. So
Right.
So
yeah.
no 17 HMR or
No
17
17
WSM.
HMR. It's 22 long rifle only, so it's a single caliber. So there's no, we don't want to get into the gamer side where someone's shooting a 17 HMR, so he doesn't have to worry about bullet drop for the next 200 yards compared to 22, which plummets like a rock after 150.
Right.
So yeah.
So what's the distances you're going out to?
So right now we're playing around with it. For us, typically we'll start our course of fire at 100 meters,
Okay.
and then right now we have a mini invitational match this weekend to kind of dial in. So we've invited a bunch of pro and amateur shooters to see just how far we can get them to hit steel reliably. So our course of fire right now goes to 325 meters. With most of the targets, like 1 or 2 stages are past 300. Most of them are between 100, 150, 200, 250, and kind of just a smattering of targets in there.
All right.
How much MOA are you going to get out to 300?
Yeah, 300. You're between 40 and 50 MOA.
Ooh, so you're gonna need you're probably gonna need a 20 MOA base and like a decent scope too, right?
Yeah, and that's kind of where we want to. And we've heard some comments from a couple of guys who know the inherent issues with expecting consistent results of dialing to the edges of your turret elevators and getting it back. So sometimes you'll be off an MOA or two, and those are the things we want to try out. So we're going to benchmark it this weekend and see just how reliable. If we can kind of push it in, maybe get it to 250 to 300, have it really challenging without causing people to fall off that reliability edge. That's built into some of those lower end scopes. And that's the other part, is that we want to have a match that caters to both complete rookies with some knowledge of ballistics and knowing how to dial in, and also the PRS guys that want to use their trainer rifle and be exactly like match conditions, except for the cost and the equipment. But everything else is going to be exactly the same.
So
and the range would be easier too, right? Because if it's like 300 meters, like there's a lot more ranges out there that can go out to 300 meters versus, I mean, PRS, you probably need something that goes out to like 8, right?
Oh, you typically shoot over 1 kilometer sometimes.
Yeah.
So yeah,
a little bit further.
So that's a lot. Yeah.
So the guys that actually, like those pros that you're talking about, the ones that use the 22 trainers, they're going to. Do you think they're going to have a little bit more of an edge up on everybody else?
I think they'll have more experience, right?
Yeah.
They'll know what to do. I think what the pros have learned is how not to miss the same way twice.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas when I started, it was, I'm going to keep playing at the same. I'm going to keep shooting the same spot because I did something wrong, hoping that something's going to happen miraculously and I'm going to make hits. So I think that's the biggest advantage, and also mental management, time management, and how do I approach what's a strategy, and that pressure of time. Like Maple Seed, build that solid base and then work off of that. But what happens when the clock starts ticking? All the fundamentals go out the window, right?
Yes.
So
yeah, I do know that.
Yeah.
So why don't you tell us about the equipment they need? So they need obviously a 22 rifle, correct?
Yep.
Bolt action or semi? What's the right one to go for
here? The first thing is you have to decide what division you want to be in.
Let's talk that
earlier. So we have a production division, which we put some limits so that we can have everyone who's got a basic rimfire rifle and a decent scope. So what we do there is that we limit the purchase price MSRP to $500 for production, plus another $500 for your optics. So you should be able to get some reasonable equipment that'll be reliable to a certain distance, right?
And that's MSRP on that
MSRP. So what we'll do is
time, right?
Yeah, that time's not 1962 when you can get an on-shoot.
When you bought it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
And so that's $500, and so there are some. So also, very minimal mods are allowed. There's no monkeying around with a trigger. There's no changing the bolt or anything else. It's really meant to be stock.
Okay.
Right? That's the goal. That's the spirit of the law, is to make it competitive for the guys that want to bring their son out or their daughter or their wife, and they have a 22 with a decent scope and they know something about ballistics and they just want to have fun. Try out the PRS game. Right. So that's production, and also the differences between production and the other division, open, is that you're only allowed to use one bag, so that you don't get the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man guys in production, and you're not allowed to use a tripod. You can use a bipod, and you limit it to one bag. That means you can have 8 bags with you. Choose the right one if you want, but only use one for that stage. Yeah.
All right. So that's only in the production.
Correct.
Okay, so open your
unlimited. You want to spend $10,000 on your rimfire? Go ahead. If you want to bring 8 bags, 20 bags in a tripod, it's meant to say, I'm going to run exactly what I would run in a full bore PRS match, to try it out and get more practice under match conditions. Except with a 22, that's all we're changing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's no. So let's say I wanted to change out my trigger just to make it a little crisper, and if that's the only thing I change, I still have to go into
You go into open. Yeah,
open.
because it
Okay.
constitutes an unfair advantage for those guys who just bought that Ruger 1022 with a 5-pound trigger or a Marlin 795 with a 7-pound trigger.
Right.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay.
That's the goal.
All
Yeah,
right.
trying to
So
even out the playing field.
How much does time come into this? Because so is
Yeah, I was gonna ask
time
that.
like a really important thing, or is it not an important thing? Because if it's an important thing, you have to get a semi. If it's not an
Oh,
important thing, a
really?
bolt is fine, right?
Yeah, it's not quite as bad as a maple seed qualification test. So you've got typically 120 seconds for 10 rounds.
Okay.
Right.
Mm.
And so sometimes you'll have a prone position where you're just shooting at far targets, or you'll have a barricade with 5 different position changes with 2 rounds per position.
Okay. So what's the tip? So you have some stages that have been designed. So what?
Yeah.
So what can somebody expect? They're going
So there's just like in a PRS match, you'll have a know your limits rack. So typically
Okay.
you'll be on a fairly stable position, either prone or on a tabletop, and you're looking at descending size targets from 3 inches down to half an inch or down to an inch.
Okay.
Between 75 and 100 meters. You'll have the standard troop line stage where you've got 4 or 5 targets arrayed maybe 200 yards down in increments of 25 yards, kind of on a troop line, kind of like the Mad Minute targets that we have at Maple Seed, except it's in real steel, moving out 100 yards in distance.
Okay.
Right.
So somebody has to actually. So with that, so somebody's going to have to put into everything all together, right? So they're going to have to know their limits, but also look at ballistics, look at wind, everything.
Wind is the huge factor that we're learning.
And a 22 out 300, right? You have to know how to read wind, right?
Yeah, it's several hundred inches of drop at 300. I mean, 300 or 400 inches, I think, or 244. I can't remember the exact number, but it's significant. And I think so again, the goal isn't to zero everyone, and the goal isn't that everyone scores 100%. What we're trying to develop, and again, we're still learning, just like in Maple Seed, we kind of go on and see what works and then change what doesn't, and kind of keep improving. That's why we're having that match this weekend to see, well, what is the practical limit for most of the people, right? What we do expect is that the open guys will struggle. No, that the production guys will struggle in some stages, but more often than not, they'll hit 50 to 70% hit factor is the goal down there. So the half of the group will be in that 50 to 70% range. And the open guys, I think we'd expect them to do a little bit better, from 60 to 80 maybe. So there's going to be some misses. You'll probably zero some stages because you called the wind wrong, or you didn't dial up correctly, or you just had a bad stage, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
I do have some question about matches. You said that there's one that's like an invite to this weekend to try things out. But go ahead.
No, it's so again, we want to shake down the course of fire just to see where things stand in kind of in our minds, because we did some informal testing that we were able to hit steel 40% of the time at 300 meters. You know, from on top.
How big is the steel?
9-inch plate.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
Tiny.
So that's a 3 Amway target. So what we did was we increased that by 50%, and then we'll see. So we've got a good range of folks. So it's a shorter match. It's an 8-stage match versus the standard 10. We've got 10 people coming this weekend to try it out, and then we'll see. I think most people should have no problems out to 275, 250. I think that's a typical sweet spot. We had some, I had a 12-year-old shooter on the line last weekend that we were doing, and he was hitting steel at 250. Once we had dialed it in.
He was so excited, wasn't he?
He was very happy. He was very happy. So
That's awesome.
It was a lot of fun. So we got.
What are you guys using to score hits on steel at that distance? Do you have like a blinker or something like that?
So we've got a couple of R&D teams working on this. Actually, it's Kevin Latham. He built a vibration sensing Arduino setup with a couple of LEDs wired to it, and so we tested that last weekend at 300 meters, and it's fairly visible. People who didn't know it was there kind of spot the target and bing, oh hey, did you guys put a light on there? And said yeah. So at 300 meters it's still visible now under overcast conditions. I don't know what it's going to be like in bright sun, but we'll see.
Okay.
So far so good.
I tested it in bright sun.
Yeah, and it worked.
It worked pretty good.
Yeah. So I think and also you can hear the hits depending on how many hits and how wide the firing line's going to be. It typically, you're not going to see a lot of movement. That's the thing. So you've got
Did we lose Rick?
Oh, just hold on a second here.
Obviously, the less you're going to see that swing. So steel on a steel hook is the best. Steel on a rubber conveyor belt kind of absorb it, and a bolted steel just doesn't move at all. So
no. But do you really think that you're going to see a lot of movement with the 22?
You will. So we were testing a 5-inch plate at 200 meters, and we were still getting it to roll around.
You guys are using a thinner piece of steel.
Yeah,
you guys aren't using a big chunk of Air 500.
Yeah, you're not.
We're using the largest steel we've got is 3/8, or actually we have one 10 mil, but we're actually playing around with 3/16 AR 450. So that's the next batch that we're going to get just to get.
It'll probably ring nice, right?
Yeah, it'll be a nicer ring and maybe a little bit more movement. So we'll know by this weekend. We should have a few of them this weekend to try out.
Cool.
So, yeah, it's gonna be nice.
It's going to be cool. So tell us about some of these matches that you've set up. You said that you're hoping to have 6 across the country.
Yeah. So our first full scheduled match is on April 29th at CFB Valcartier. The same range that they're having their full bore PRS match at the day before, or it's a PRS practice actually. And then so we're going to set up after their practice, and then we'll be shooting on the same range. It's a beautiful, wide open valley, nestled in the hills. It's very picturesque, and the winds are treacherous, which is even more exciting for folks. Yeah, but again, what's nice is you don't need a high power scope because it's only 300 meters. So a 3x9 or a 2.5 to 10 is more than enough to see it. So
just something that's repeatable on clicks and has the clarity and whatnot.
Correct. Yeah, that's the thing. So that's April 29th. The other two that we're working on confirming are one is in Merritt, BC, and the other one is in Tabor, Alberta.
Okay.
First and second weekend in August. I can't remember which one's which. The 4th and the 11th of August are the other two events that we're trying to finalize right now.
Okay.
Cool.
And then we'll have 2 in Ontario and then 1 more in Quebec, and that should be it for the year. But again, if someone comes up with a range out east that we could quickly drive out to and set up, once you've had 1 or 2 under your belt, it's pretty easy to just
I remember what we said about Maple Seed only having 4 25
it was good. We learned a lot, and that's kind of what was helpful here as well, is that I'm not intimidated by kind of what we had to do, because we've already gone through the learning curves of all of the setting up and contacts. And
so one of the things that this isn't associated with Maple Seed, however, Maple Seed is endorsing it, and Rick is actually. We just wanted to because there's been a little bit of confusion about it, whether it's a Maple Seed event or
correct.
Yeah.
Some of the same characters being involved there. Yeah.
And part of the decision to separate it was that the finances and the funding should be separate, so that people don't get alarmed that Maple Seed's now funding a competitive series and there's trophies and there's prizes and all of that stuff. We wanted to be very clear that they're 2 separate organizations with 2 separate bank accounts, and you'll be seeing our fundraising event shortly, because these things cost money apparently.
Yes, they do. So you did say that you have separate sponsors. Who are some of the sponsors that are involved in it as well?
Right now, we've got Gongjo. He's a steel target manufacturer out of Quebec.
Cool.
So he's our major target sponsor. He's providing all of the match targets, not for this weekend. We've got a mishmash of different things to try out, but once the first event starts, he'll be providing all of them. So thanks to Gongjo for stepping up and providing that. The other one is MDT. MDT is also a sponsor of ours. The most recent one we sent out today was the chamber flags are MDT sponsored. So thanks MDT for keeping us all safe and sound on the event. DLASK is also signing up to be a sponsor for the BC match. They have a new exciting rifle coming out that all I can say is they have a new exciting rifle that is going to revolutionize rimfire precision, is what Lee said. So we also have Tesco in Ottawa. They're a provider of ammo and equipment for air rifle and small bore rifles, so they're a sponsor as well. And let me think who else. I think I'm trying to remember who else is on that list. I think that's it for now.
Okay.
So I was just looking through CGN to see if I could find a Bushnell 10X, one of their elites, because they have okay glass for the price. But I can't find anything right now.
Well, maybe maybe sell something and
Yeah, because that's under the $500 limit.
Oh yeah, and it would have really decent glass on it, and the clicks on it aren't bad either.
Yeah.
So I've got a Norinco NS522 that's accurate
nice.
bolt action, but I
Nice.
mod out the trigger a little bit.
Okay.
It might have a 3-ounce trigger, so it's probably not kosher anymore for what you've got. But
production, is there any modifications that we can do that would be okay? Let's talk.
Yes. Yeah. So for production, you can do the cheek rest mod because we want the rifle to fit. You can, if you're running a 1022, you can do the auto bolt mod. You can do the buffer. You can do the extended mag release.
Because those don't really give you an advantage, right?
Yeah, they don't really give you an advantage. It's more safety and ease of use.
Right.
And there's enough generous time that it's not really a significant advantage as well. So,
yeah.
So,
but I think
that's about it.
Let's say somebody does do modifications to the trigger. How do you test that, or do you?
I mean, so
do you really?
Part of it is, the first thing we do is a visual inspection of the production rifles.
Okay.
If we can see that you've bedded the action, right? That's the first giveaway that we're not dealing with a stock rifle. And the next thing we do is we dry fire it in the safe area just to make sure that it's, we know that Ruger 1022s have a 4 to 5 pound trigger, right? If you're pulling at 2 pounds or 3 pounds, it's probably not a stock trigger. Right? And again, the goal is to, do you really want to beat that small family that just showed up here because they want to have a nice morning? Is that what's going to make you happy?
No, it's not.
Well, speak for yourself.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. But that's the goal. And again, we're not going to be, overly rigid. Again, the goal is to have fun and not put too much stress on people. If you want to play that game, we're not here to waste our day, validating and confirming people. We're just out there to have fun and give people a good value for their money. Be under the competitive pressure of a real PRS match. The only difference is the equipment, right? In fact, it's probably harder than regular PS because it's you're equivalent to shooting out to 1,200 meters, right, with a 308 when you're trying to hit a target at 350 with a rimfire, maybe even more. So but we're looking forward to it. It should be an exciting, stressful day for everybody for the right reasons. Yeah. I think we expect to see a lot of newbies. So part of the thing that we want to be cautious of is that we're probably going to be a little bit more vigilant in safety for these matches than a typical PRS match, because we will expect a lot of new shooters coming on the line. So it'll be very more rigid and more controlled in terms of how many people are walking around to make sure we've got chamber flags on and no one's being.
So the reality is that people can actually go to these practice and then flip over to the precision rifles series as well. It gives them more opportunity to go and shoot, right?
Absolutely. I mean, if you look at the cost of the day, the match is, maybe a quarter of the price, and the ammo is a fraction of the price. $100 instead of 200 or 150.
What is the cost to go and participate?
The match is set up at $50.
That's really cheap.
Yeah, compared to what you get, and you'll
No,
get.
it's not cheap.
It's more affordable than other, or it's on par with other sporting events that are out there. And again, if you want to do one a year, then that's probably it's really the cost of ammo and the equipment that is the huge savings, right? You don't need a $1,000 gun or $1,000 scope or $500 in practice ammo, right? It's $50 and $10 for the $50 for your season's practice and $10 for the match ammo, or $15 if you want to splurge. Yeah.
And it'll allow you to actually get out there, take something that you actually already probably own, get out there and try it out, see if you like it. And if you do, then you can actually, upgrade the equipment and do the actual precision series as well. So
that's it.
And you get to practice things like reading wind and all that as well.
I think that's the other great part, is because we'll have a lot of great shooters or good shooters on the line. And part of what I love about the competition is how helpful everybody is. So when someone's got a good solid wind reading up front, they'll pass it down the line, and you kind of learn through osmosis. And if you have questions, someone's there, you see, hey, what bag is that? Or hey, what ammo carrier is that? Or hey, where'd you get those mags? Or where'd you get that ammo? How are you sighting in? So it's really meant to be as informative as it is competitive at the same time. and kind
Yeah.
of build camaraderie, and also build that circle of friends that are similarly minded that you can connect with after and say, hey, let's go practice, or what are you doing, or your new Facebook friends that becomes your lifelong shooting buddy, right? That's
Which is
that's a
which is
possibility.
which is
It's
the
happening.
awesome part.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
All right. Where can people actually reach you? So I know that you have both a website and Facebook
We do
and
have a
all that.
website.
So what? Yeah.
Primarily, a lot of our interaction is on the Facebook group. So if you just search for Canadian Rimfire Precision Series, there's a group and a page. So the page is kind of the main hanging point. And then once you find the group, request to join. It is a closed group. Right now, I think we're about 300 members, 280
Wow.
members. Yeah. So, and there's a lot of experienced shooters in there. So it's fun to watch. You know, the very competitive PRS guys start to talk about the equipment that they're bringing to these rimfire matches. They're running, you know, equal cost. They're not saving any money. Except
no.
And that's going to be the fun part. You know, it's just to see, you know, Schmidt and Bender scopes and Vortex AMGs on Savages or CZ 455s and whatnot. It'll be interesting. I think what I can't wait to see is tally up the results to see what ammo, what rifles, what scopes are being used and kind of where they place in the pack, just so we can get some solid evidence. I think it's the first time in Canada that we're going to get that kind of information. It's going to be informative for a lot of people.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot more shooting events out there now for people. Obviously, they're able to take part in this. They're able to take part in the actual precision rifle series or Maple Seed, whatever. So there's lots of new stuff that's coming out, and it's just making our community grow that much more. And Rick, you are actually a huge part of that. So I just wanted to say thank you too.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome.
You're so invested in this and you're so passionate about it. It's absolutely great to see.
Well, Andrew Dunn and Will Gould are also part of the team. I'm kind of just the one that was able to make it tonight. So those guys are strong contributors and supporters and
yeah, they are, and they're also amazing shooters as well.
They are, yeah.
So you're gonna bring this out to Alberta. You're gonna do a shoot in Tabor. Are you going to make it so that they're going to be doing shoots out here under that same branding or that kind of style shoot? Because just one is like not satisfying enough for me.
There's actually a Southern Alberta Precision Rifle League, SAPRL, that's already doing a rimfire shoot. Also, there's one in Medicine Hat, I think in July. So if you look up the SAPRL, they do their standard PRS style and also the rimfire as well. So I think they shoot out of... I think they're shooting at Tabor, and they're also shooting out at can't remember the Milo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So they had a couple of events there as well. So
interesting.
Yeah,
got to get that up north here.
And I think we're not trying to trademark this. The goal is that, hey guys, if you want a league, start it up. We publish the course of fire, and we know that people think that's proprietary information, but you know what? If it helps people create more opportunities for people to shoot, then go for it. I mean, we're not trying to get rich off this. We're just trying to fund the events so that we can do more, right? That's the goal. And try and build up that base of shooters that Maple Seed is churning out and get them to that next level. And maybe they'll go into the full bore as Tactical Teacher does his precision rifle clinics, or CQB, or 3-gun, or it's just fun. I think I can't wait to see kind of where it goes. It's
getting to the point where you have to actually start choosing between what event you're going to be going to.
Or the choice will be made for me. Yes.
No, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking. I'm talking about
general.
Public.
Yeah, because I'm thinking I've got a CQB match on the 24th, and then I've got to be. I'm range officer next weekend, and then Maple Seed season starts in April, and then it's exciting. I think it's getting there. I think what we hope to build is that groundswell of opportunities for people to A, learn, and then B, implement what they've learned, whether it's rimfire or centerfire.
Right. Yeah, because you're absolutely right. You can take what you've learned in Maple Seed, and now they're going to get excited about something else, whether it's the no distance or it's whether the precision rimfire series, and then they can go on to full bore, and then
or stay in 22. Those are the things. I mean, you've got all the Olympic shooters shooting 22s. Like biathlon guys, those guys are nuts. Why don't you go cross country ski for 10K and then shoot in between?
All right. No. Adriel, got anything else for Rick?
I got a million questions for him, but I think I might do those after the show here.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
But if people do have questions for you, Rick, they can contact you on the Facebook page or
send an email, info@rimfireprecision.ca. That's also our website. That's the other way to kind of find out more about what we're doing. So we'll try and post to both, but typically conversations are that's the beautiful part about Facebook is you can have conversations with people.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Perfect. Thanks for coming on tonight.
Hey, thanks for having us. Sorry that Andrew and Will couldn't make it tonight.
Yeah, I was kind of actually hoping to actually speak to Andrew. I knew Andrew was trying to make it, and Will as well.
Yeah,
so.
we're all scrambling to get ready for that match on Saturday. So it's last minute shopping and fabricating and welding and all kinds of stuff running.
Yeah,
behind the curtains. So
awesome.
Well, thanks for coming on.
Yep, you're welcome.